I just want to quickly discuss the Timberwolves 3-0 start. Now, last week on the show when Ian was here, we discussed NBA predictions and all that kind of stuff. And we kind of didn't have much to say on the Timberwolves just because they're not... When you look at how talented the teams in the West are, you knew the Wolves weren't going to be one of those prime contenders in the West based on their talent. But when you look at the Timberwolves roster, I still think, okay, this is a talented enough team. Like they're lumped in with the Phoenixes, the Sacramentos, and like the Memphis teams by default by the rest of the league because they're like, oh, well, they traded Jimmy Butler and Cat. Everybody sleeps on Cat all the time, and I said last week on the show, I said, guys, the Timberwolves, I'm not going to say they're going to make the playoffs. I'm not going to say they're going to be this world-beating team, but I said they're going to be better than people think. And so far, they have a 3-0. Granted, they played in Brooklyn without Kevin Durant. They played Charlotte. So there you go. And Miami without Jimmy Butler. But when you look at all these games, the Wolves still won them. They're 3-0 in the conference right now, or they're 3-0 overall. They're tops in the Western Conference. And they play their first real test is Philadelphia on Wednesday. So for the Wolves, you had a great start to the year. Karl-Anthony Towns has been amazing. Look, and I think Karl-Anthony Towns is going to have a great year because they have a whole offseason of a coaching staff with Ryan Saunders and a front office who is centering how can we make Karl-Anthony Towns better every single game. And I saw on Twitter a guy tweeted, he's like, Wolves offensive plan. Number 1, am I Karl-Anthony Towns? 2, if I'm not, then give him the ball. And that's basically been their mantra. And they're rolling. And I think that this Wolves structure that they have right now with Ryan Saunders as the head coach, Cat as the centerpiece, and the things that they're putting around him, I think Robert Covington, with the very few games that he played as a Timberwolf with Karl-Anthony Towns were amazing. And I think that if we get a whole healthy season out of Robert Covington, I think things are going to look up for the Timberwolves. I'm not saying that they're going to make the playoffs, and they'll probably come back down to earth a little bit. But I am saying that this Wolves team is better than people think, and they're going to at least hang around in the Western Conference playoffs come season end.
How about Wiggins shutting down the Heat in the final couple minutes there? I think he hit 3 threes in a row.
It's almost as if he doesn't take long contested twos that, like, it's a good shot on the court to take three-pointers. Yeah, no, he's played great, and I've heard reports through, again, secondhand reporting, like scrolling through Twitter, hearing people who are connected with the team. Andrew Wiggins told Coach Ryan Saunders to, be tougher on him, to get on him more about things like that.
As if the crowd ain't tough on him already. He's having Coach reel him now.
Well, and what happened was Wiggins did get benched in part of the second half of that Miami game because of his shot selection and because he just wasn't doing things on the court that were productive. So Saunders did sit him down and kind of told him what he needs to do, and then he comes back and shoots those threes, and that's something that I think works. I think Wiggins has that, like, kind of don't care aspect about him, or kind of like that that he doesn't listen to what Jimmy Butler says or what Shaq says on TNT or Charles Barkley and all that kind of stuff. But I do think that Wiggins, there's a gut level part of Wiggins that does want to be a good NBA player. But, I mean, I don't think Wiggins is going to be great. I don't think that all of a sudden we've unlocked Andrew Wiggins. I think Andrew Wiggins is a bust. I think for being a number 1 overall pick in the NBA, for being called the second coming, I remember ESPN, when they were talking about Andrew Wiggins when he was at Kansas, someone called him like a guy who could be compared to the next coming of LeBron. Like, obviously, when you have those kind of expectations, it's hard to not be a bust. But he's been a bust as a number 1 overall pick, as a centerpiece for a team. He's going to be overpaid, but he can still be a productive NBA player. And I think it's kind of like Kirk Cousins with the Vikings. Is he going to be worth every penny of the contract? No. But can he still be a productive player that helps your team win games? Of course. And I think Wiggins can do that. And I think with Saunders having the right approach of saying, okay, I'm going to be tough on you, but also I'm not going to scream and yell at you like Tibbs does to where you automatically tune out. And I think this Wolves team is going to be better than people think. I don't like their bench. I don't think they have enough pieces around kind of that Cat Covington kind of trio. I think Culver's been a good pick so far. I like Okogie on defense. He's got to clean up his offense a bit. I think he's a very low floor, low ceiling kind of player. I like what the Wolves have, and I'm confident in them going forward in the season, which is not something I said last year after that whole debacle.
Do you think Cat has the potential of like carrying a team to a playoff spot? Do you think he has that potential to, with his offensive abilities, to lead a team to the playoffs?
I think he does. I really think Cat does, and I talked about this on the show. I think Cat is one of the best big men in the game today. I think his all-around game, his defense is improving, and his defensive metrics. Like if you look at the ratings that the NBA uses, I think it's like win shares is like kind of the war of the NBA. Cat is a great win share player. And then you look at defensive rankings, how they rank defensive metrics kind of in the statistical output. Cat is improving his defense every year. And it's tough to be a young guy in the NBA. It takes a while. For some people, it takes a while to develop a defense. Cat's developing his defense. I think this is the year where Cat proves that he can carry a team. I think the Wolves are not going to be slouches this year. And I said that before. I said they're going to be better than people think. Cat is not a slouch, and I think he's capable of doing it. And I think this is the year. I think he's had a whole offseason. There's been nobody talked about the Timberwolves this offseason. That's been great. Karl-Anthony Towns hasn't had Jimmy Butler ripping him through his agent, through the media, and he hasn't had guys on TV ripping Karl-Anthony Towns. He can just sit back, let everybody sleep on him, and he's going to play great. Karl-Anthony Towns is a great player. He's better than Jokic. I will say that confidently. I think Cat's an all-around better player than Nikola Jokic. I said that last week, and I'll say it again. Nobody's here to debate me on that, but I'm going to say it again. I think Karl-Anthony Towns can carry this Timberwolves team, and I think they're going to go as far as Karl-Anthony Towns can carry them. I think he has a coaching staff that's working to build a team around him. People got upset at Cat for not being able to carry the Wolves the last couple of years because they didn't put Cat in positions to do that. Now with a full year of Ryan Saunders and a coaching staff and an organization that is saying Cat is the centerpiece of our organization, because before with Tibbs, he never embraced Cat as a centerpiece. It was always Jimmy. And then it was kind of Cat by default after that. So I think this year is where we're finally going to see a free Cat. A Cat who is a Karl-Anthony Towns who is being embraced by this organization, and he's really feeling it right now. Cat looks really happy to be in Minnesota, which is not something I could have told you a year ago.